What up? You think the Steam machine will fail? That's a good question. That is a good question. And that is definitely a conversation to be had. Today we're getting into one of the biggest questions surrounding the Steam machine. And some people who have adopted the Steam platform already think that this thing is the greatest thing since sliced bread. The holy grail of PC gaming. I managed to engage a decent amount of people on X and get their feedback and opinions, and the results were interesting. But also, after comparing it to real PC hardware that you can buy today, mini PCs, like the AX8 Max and the P8 mini PC, things start looking a lot more complicated. Okay, so let's break down what this thing actually is. Whether it truly fills a market gap, and whether it can compete with $500 to $650 mini PCs, and $350 to $750 consoles. Valve clearly wants a device that is somewhere between the Steam Deck and a full-blown PC. And ideally for people in the gaming community that don't want to deal with the hassle of PCs, updating drivers, and all the other fun crap that goes with building a PC or owning a PC, it's kind of a soft spot. The feedback that I've gotten online has been along the lines of, it'll be hackable. You can install Windows on it. You'll be able to emulate stuff. You'll be able to run Heroic, GOG, other launchers. It'll have a full desktop mode. All of those things are literally things you can do with a mini PC. So what's the point of buying a Steam machine if you're just going to turn it into a mini PC? There's nothing magical about that flexibility. One other thing to mention is that the Steam machine won't be capable of Oculink. That's kind of a big thing for longevity and for PC gamers who want to adopt a platform like that. From a more simplistic point of view, let's check out two real-world mini PC examples. The first one is the GEEKOM AX8 Max. It has a Ryzen 7 8745HS, a Radeon 780M, RDNA 3.5 iGPU, by the way, 32 gigabytes of DDR5, 1 terabyte NVMe, dual HDMI, and Oculink. Then you have the P8 mini PC, Ryzen 5 7640, Radeon 760M, RDNA 3 iGPU, same 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD, everything else that the latter had. So how much do these cost? Well, the AX8, respectively, costs around $600 to $650 depending on where you're getting it. The P8 mini PC is around $300 to $350. Now look, just taking these things as a baseline, they're already going to be able to run current gen games at 1080p, 60 FPS, and higher. The systems don't limit you to Steam OS. You're actually going to be able to use Xbox PC, Windows Store, and every other gaming platform out there because they run on Windows. I get it. Windows, annoying, has to update, do driver shit, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times full of bloatware. Most of these mini PCs though, they come pretty stripped, and it's not difficult to remove everything. But I get it, it's not user friendly. I know people are gonna say that, and I know they're gonna say it's just a bunch of malware. Okay, got it. But the bottom line is, you could still technically install a Steam OS on these. Just saying. Here's what I learned when I engaged people in the community, and everybody was cool, so I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, you're just hating, No, I'm not hating, bro. I'm talking raw data, okay? But the feedback that I got was, I already love Steam. This will be perfect. It'll be like my Steam Deck, but in a box. I can install emulators, so I don't need anything else. I want simplicity. And in a second group, you can install any OS. It'll run Windows. You'll be able to sideload anything. Some people mentioned dev flexibility and Linux gaming improvement. Fair enough. Nobara, Chimera OS, and Windows interchangeably. Nothing in these arguments can't already be done for under $500. All right, let's talk meat and potatoes for a minute. When we're looking at specs and pricing comparatively, we look at the Steam machine, which is comparable to an Xbox Series S. Now, I own an Xbox Series S, I've had an X as well, and the Series S is actually pretty powerful for what it is, and for the price. That's the huge part. For $350, that thing really pulls its weight. And I would definitely say entry-level PC performance. But when contrasting with other mini PCs like the AX8 or A9, the Steam machine specs barely hold up to it. And since those are priced between $600 and $800, and the Xbox Series S is $350, well, where does that put the Steam machine? One can only guess that the starting price is going to be around $600. With devices like the Switch 2 pulling its weight so hard, for the price range it's in, I'm honestly hoping I'm going to be completely wrong and Valve is going to have the price point in check. I recently did a video on the Polycade Sente, and this is one of the perfect platforms to put a Steam machine in. But it does come with a fairly powerful little mini PC, and it does beg the question, do I really want to spend the money on the Steam machine and replace the mini PC that's in there, which is already synced to my Steam library? I'm sure that most of us that are watching this video can already understand the appeal of the Steam machine to an audience that has a huge Steam collection. And presumably, if the Steam Deck has been doing decent up to this point, it's safe to say that the Steam machine is going to do fairly well for itself. But how are they going to market it to newcomers? What's going to be the reward for them if they're already playing a console that does what the Steam machine does, or maybe even does it a little bit better? Truly, I can think of a million things to do with this. And if they have it at a $450 price point, $499 price point, with an SD card slot, some of the concessions might be justifiable, but they're going to have to compete with Nintendo and Xbox, even if you want to argue that Xbox isn't relevant. In this case, I think it is. So what's the price going to be? It's got to be around $499 or $450 starting off. And if it's not, I think a lot of the older crowd is going to have less reasons to buy in. And the younger crowd of just console generation is going to have no reason to buy in. So my projected price range for the 512GB model is going to be $499 to $549. And for the upper echelon 2TB model, I'm going to say $699 to $749. But you guys let me know what you think down in the comments.
Bottom line is that the Steam machine, if they're going to sell it at a loss, it's going to be a fairly significant loss, especially since a lot of this hardware is custom tailored. And if they're losing more than $100 per sale, that could really affect them negatively.
Another thing that's worth mentioning is that you can now play Steam games through the Xbox PC app.
Rumors are that the next-gen console will be almost more like a gaming PC in a lot of ways, that it'll be super high-powered. I don't know if you can speak to that at all, but...
Well, I can tell you you're right, that the next-gen console is going to be a very premium, very high-end, curated experience. You're starting to see some of the thinking that we have in this handheld, but I don't want to give it all away.
So the CEO of Xbox, Sarah Bond, is teasing that the next generation experience is going to be highly curated, and basically implying that they're going to have an all-inclusive system. What does that mean for the Steam machine? Essentially, since the beginning of 2025, it's already been possible to play Steam games on your Xbox. And surprisingly, not a lot of people have been bringing attention to this. But if this is going to be a possibility for the future ecosystems of Xbox and Steam, then what does that mean for the gaming community? And what does it mean for the future of Xbox, PlayStation, and Valve? To me, the biggest appeal of the Steam machine is the intrigue more than anything else. As far as the community's take on Steam machine, at least from the gamers I've talked to, this pretty much sums up most of the responses I received when asking what they thought.
Plus, this is kind of like a niche platform still. No gamer who already has a game library on PS5 or Xbox and doesn't use PC gaming is going to just pick one of these up and be like, yeah, I'm just going to rebuy my whole game collection. Makes perfect sense. So is the Steam machine going to be this great new thing? No, not really. It's just going to simplify something that already exists. And when I say simplify, I mean put Steam OS on it. My argument against it is that you're limited to the Steam OS. you have no longevity with the console. In other words, you can't use Oculus. I think it needs to have a little bit more open platform compatibility so that people can play their game that they already own in many cases. But I'm talking about like Xbox, Microsoft libraries, because we already know a lot of the old PlayStation exclusives have come to Steam. But at the same time, you're also limited to not the full Steam library. Will you be able to play AAA games? Yeah, sure. But what if there's some like indie dev game that you want and it's just not on there because it's not supported by Steam OS? But I get it. Not everybody is like that. Not everybody nerds out. But I think most people who play with things like the Steam Deck and are on the Steam platform have to have some knowledge of how to run a PC and do things like that. Most of us are tinkers, I would say. I mean, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments and we can duke it out there. I will say it's innovative in the sense of its simplicity and the fact that it runs a platform which you may already have tons and tons of games on. For some of us. But the one place that I'm curious about is how it's going to appeal to the current console market gamers. And, again, what the price is going to be and how it's justified. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys then. Is it powerful? Does it have potential? Yeah, it is. Well, it's definitely got a lot of power for its size, and it definitely has potential, but I think I need 3 of them.
What's going on? Doctor?
I'm done. Cut the show. I'm done. Take me off.